for joining us on this edition of Business Daily. Coming to you live from Seoul, I'm Lee Ji-yoon. Let's get started with a check of today's highlights. Traditional markets here in Korea are becoming a more popular tourist destination as the government looks to prop up small businesses and create new cultural hotspots. With Seoul Fashion Week currently underway, we take a look at where the country's fashion industry stands and what it needs to do in order to expand globally. These stories and more coming right up. But first, Korea's terms of trade improved in February, recording the highest in nearly 6 years. This is according to the Bank of Korea, which said the country's net barter terms of trade index came to an estimated 103.54 last month, up 3.1% on year. Now, this means the country was able to purchase more import goods based on its per-unit exports compared to a year ago. The February reading was also 2.4% higher than January. The central bank said the improved numbers came from a faster decline in import prices than exports due to a significant slide in commodity prices from a year ago. Korea is also stepping up its efforts to support exporters that have been struggling for over a year with falling outbound shipments. The Trade Ministry said Wednesday that it's launching a service to help businesses before they apply for government support. Officials from trade agencies and financial institutions will visit the nation's 4 major industrial complexes starting today to meet with business officials and explain the plan. The ministry also said it will create an export revitalization scheme for each complex with the goal of boosting exports for small and medium-sized enterprises by about 10% in volume this year. One of Korea's monetary policymakers says there are limitations when it comes to tackling sluggish global economic conditions by maneuvering the key interest rate. During a luncheon with reporters on Wednesday, Bank of Korea's Monetary Policy Board member Chung Soon-won said that the current slowdown is prompted by structural issues and that countries should focus on expanding growth potential by increasing productivity. Chung said that Japan and Eurozone countries are good examples that underscore the limitations of monetary policies. There have been more calls on Korea's central bank to cut its benchmark rate even further to boost the economy as it continues to suffer from slumping exports. The key rate currently stands at a record low of 1.5%. To some company news now, Korea's top mobile chat operator Kakao is set to become the country's first internet company to reach conglomerate status. The Fair Trade Commission classifies a company as a conglomerate when its combined assets exceeds 5 trillion won. That's roughly $4.3 billion. Kakao acquired music content company Loan Entertainment in January this year, putting the firm over the threshold. It holds a total of 47 units, including search portal Daum. The two merged in 2014. The fresh rank would put it under new rules like restrictions on cross-shareholding investments that already apply to its would-be peers like Samsung and Hyundai Motor Group. Kakao is set to achieve the feat next month, which is just about 6 years since its founding. Some strong accolades for Samsung Electronics. Consumer Reports has named the Galaxy S7 not only the best smartphone in the market, but also the best smartphone it has ever reviewed. The U.S. magazine pointed to strengthened basics as the main reason, and it graded the smartphone's battery life as excellent after lasting more than 24 hours in simulated talk time, twice that of the iPhone 6s. The Galaxy S7's superior cameras, high-resolution screens, and super-fast processors also impressed, as did the return of expandable memory for 4K video recording and water resistance. The S7 Edge came in at number 2. When it comes to shopping in this region, Korea has become one of the most sought-after tourist destinations. But with its popularity starting to plateau, the state-run institute has decided to put its money in a new type of attraction to keep the momentum going. Our Lee Ju-young tells us more.
Groups of foreign tourists are busy trying out local specialties at this traditional market and checking out the country's craftwork that comes with a long-standing history.
It's my first time here, and a lot of street, your locals, good food, local delights that I can get to taste.
Despite the attraction, traditional markets have struggled over the years to stay afloat as they find themselves competing against well-polished big-box stores. But the state-run Small and Medium Business Administration sees these venues as a great way to draw in foreign tourists. To add more life to them, it has pledged to invest $277 million in nearly 700 traditional markets over the next 3 years. Experts say the business agency is striving to transform traditional markets into tourist attractions by pairing up local cultural content with tourism resources.
Local tourism needs to be revitalized, and for that, there needs to be an attraction that offers both culture and content. Traditional markets can play this role.
When it comes to the country's most iconic market, Dongdaemun, a large commercial area encompassing traditional markets and shopping centers, the ratio of foreign tourists who had visited edged up to nearly 50% in 2014, compared to just over 45% in the previous year. In a survey of over 4,000 foreign tourists conducted recently by Korea Tourism Organization, visiting traditional markets placed third on the list of the top 50 things travelers want to experience in Korea. It's this kind of momentum the business agency wants to capitalize on. Vendors are also welcoming this move.
When foreign tourists visit, they come as a group. It helps a lot, so we want more visitors.
The agency supporting small businesses said it will also open small shops that offer tax refunds for foreigners, as well as setting up guest houses near popular markets to give visitors more options for accommodation. Lee Ju-young, Business Daily.
A nuclear power plant comes with a lot of safety requirements, one of the key conditions being preventing the overheating of cooling pipes designed to remove heat from the core of the reactor. Now, Korean scientists have succeeded in developing new technology that does exactly that. Our Eunice Kim has the story.
It's called the pipe erosion phenomenon. A nuclear reactor's metal pipes thin over time from the intense pressure and heat that could potentially lead to a rupture and fatalities. Little was known of it when pipes burst at the U.S.'s Surrey Power Station in 1986, and more recently in 2004 at Japan's Mihama Power Plant, leading to the death of 4 workers due to a steam explosion. These incidents highlighted the importance of proper pipe management. Fast forward to today. Scientists at Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute have developed FACS, short for Flow Accelerated Corrosion Testing System, a facility that allows workers to simulate the pressure, temperature, velocity, and water quality flowing through the thousands of different types of pipes that run through a nuclear power plant. This system is able to diagnose erosion inside the cooling pipes, giving plenty of time for technicians to replace them as needed.
It's built to handle temperatures of up to 270 degrees Celsius, an atmospheric pressure of 60, and a velocity of 20 meters per second for a 2-inch pipe, the highest specifications in the world.
As the testing system enters full operation, empirical data collected opens doors for advancements in other areas of nuclear plant safety technology.
Now that we can check secondary cooling pipes with homegrown technology, we're planning to work on building the base for developing code that can predict pipe erosion.
Current pipe tests use ultrasonic waves and must be conducted when the plants are offline. But future technologies are expected to allow testing even in high temperatures. And when commercialized, the applications could be far-reaching, extending to adoption in thermoelectric power plants as well. Eunice Kim, Business Daily.
Seoul Fashion Week has rolled up its curtains and its latest collection are on full display. Korean designers will be trying to make a lasting impression on international buyers in hopes of expanding their business. And to tell us more about the current status of Korea's fashion industry, our Kim Min-ji joins us in the studio today. All right, Min-ji, so you were at the show yourself. What was it like?
Well, I must say it was very vibrant. I saw a lot of top-notch models, celebrities, and most importantly, I got a peek at the trends for this fall and winter. But behind all the glitz and glamour, the local fashion industry has lost some of its luster in recent years. Korean designers will be presenting their latest works at the Seoul Fashion Week as they look to make a splash and win over global buyers. This year, up-and-coming designers also have the chance to showcase their work thanks to relaxed rules that open doors to more participants. Previously, designers were required to own a private brand for at least 5 years, but now the criteria has been lowered to just 1, as the local industry aims to expand the arena for hardworking designers who are looking to get off the ground. Designer Kim Soo-jin, his professional career has lasted for almost a decade now, says perseverance is key.
Despite starting with very little money, I would work a day job and make clothes overnight. For me, it was about keeping my pace. I didn't compare myself with other designers. I felt it was important to find a way that was right for me and take steps accordingly.
But behind the dazzle of the runway, the local fashion industry has been in the shadows, facing a slowdown in the local economy and growing competition from overseas brands. Samsung C&T Fashion Division, the country's leader in the industry for one, saw sales drop over 6% last year from a year ago, while posting an operating loss of about $7.8 million. Other big players in the industry have also seen significant declines in operating profit. Experts say another shortcoming of Korea's fashion industry is that it's been too focused on the local market.
Many Korean fashion brands have made inroads to China, for example, but many end up packing up and leaving as they fail to analyze what consumers there want.
Experts stress that companies need to get out and set new trends, as well as jump ahead of the changing taste of consumers, using the attractive tool of social media that Korean fashion brands have yet been slow to take advantage of.
Now, we saw some pretty bad figures from your report. So does this indicate that the local industry has been underperforming?
Well, it has been growing over the recent years, but what we must note is the pace of growth, which has been slowing. And in 2014, it just grew over 3% on year. Now, as for last year, it's expected to have grown less than 2% due to a prolonged economic slowdown and the MERS outbreak in the nation during summer that slammed the brakes on consumption. Now, experts forecast the situation won't get any better in the near future as the economic downturn lingers and competition has intensified in both offline and online markets as well.
Now, speaking of increased competition, I can see that overseas brands have been doing pretty well here in Korea already. I can think of a number of foreign brands that are pretty popular here in Korea. What's behind their success?
Yes, you're right. Japan's fast fashion brand Uniqlo, for one, recently reached sales of 1 trillion won, or roughly $860 million in Korea for the fiscal year of 2014. Now, that's a milestone just a decade after entering the Korean market in 2005. Now, the success comes from more focused marketing, in a sense promoting what they're good at. For instance, Uniqlo targets the basics in people's wardrobes, while Spanish brand Zara and Sweden's H&M are quick to reflect fast-changing fashion trends. Now, like I said, it all comes down to marketing. So when we think of these brands, there are features that come to mind. For instance, when I say Uniqlo, heat tech comes to mind. So it's a question of whether you can have this type of influence on your customers and down the line develop products based on what they want.
Then what should Korean fashion companies and designers work on down the road?
Well, the designers that I met at Seoul Fashion Week say Korea is gaining more global recognition on the global stage. And so if they are able to ride on the popularity of Hallyu or the Korean wave, they could get far. But what experts are saying is that they need to be more globally. They need to come up with more global strategies in terms of product planning or marketing. So they need to get on their feet and develop new trends, making use of big data rather than emulating or modifying trends from overseas. They also need to make use of feedback from consumers and become a brand that is irreplaceable. And experts say even at big fashion companies in Korea, there aren't departments solely dedicating to researching consumer and street trends. And also, when they do move overseas, they need to be more open to communicating and working with local designers, whether it be through establishing joint companies or in the form of startup incubators. And in the long run, this will help them attract local capital as well.
So I guess there's still a lot room for improvement, but perhaps these changes will spark a K fashion boom.
That's right.
All right, thank you so much for coming in today, Minji.
Thank you.
And that wraps it up for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow at the same time, same place for your Business Daily. Until then, goodbye.